Welcome everyone to our session on SAP Fiori for iOS and Android. My name is Emil Butter. I'm leading the design system team for mobile, and I'm happy to have Christian Scheiermann with me today. So, Christian, over to you.
Hi everybody, my name is Christian Scheiermann. I'm a user experience designer at SAP, and I'm currently working for the mobile experience and engineering team. And I'm very excited today to share with you what's new with mobile user experience design at SAP.
Great, thank you, Christian. So excited to have you with me here. Let's start with taking a look at the big picture and how all those mobile design system initiatives that we are currently running fit into this. Since we are designers, we are, of course, the advocates for the user, and we want to make sure that in this upper layer for the business processes, our users are served with the best tools possibly be in order to fulfill their workflows in their daily work. And in order to support those mobile scenarios, SAP offers a set of core applications on the application layer, and we offer technologies in order to have a strong foundation to build applications that are enterprise ready and fulfill the needs of our enterprise users. All those technology artifacts that you will see today are used inside SAP for building applications, but you can use them in the same manner, in the same fashion for your applications that you are building on your own. That's why we are going to share a few applications with you, but also those pieces in order to build them. If we are looking at the usage of mobile devices in general, there is a ton of smartphone users out there that are using it for both work and personal life. The usage per day is for more than 70% of users above 4 hours a day. And what's also interesting about it is that the average session time of using the smartphone for a user is between 20 and 30 seconds. This means for designers that we do have a challenge here to design for interruption, and that in order to support this kind of workflows, this kind of interacting with the device, we need to base our interaction paradigms and the software we build on those native capabilities that the different operating systems are providing. We have to pick up the user in the natural environment of either iOS or Android, and we have to make sure that we leverage the technology and the capabilities of those devices best in order to support the users. To really double down the investment on mobile, SAP is partnering with Apple since quite some time already, and this is a huge opportunity for SAP and Apple together approaching users in a way to make their workflows on mobile even more efficient. This partnership with Apple has led to an entire design language, SAP Fiori for iOS. And in the meantime, we have brought this very same idea, this very same notion to Android with SAP Fiori for Android. What is important to mention on this end, though, is that we are not reinventing the experience for iOS or Android users. We want to make sure that everything that we are doing in the field of experience on a mobile device does not at all conflict with the underlying paradigms of the operating systems. That's why SAP Fiori for iOS builds on Apple's human interface guidelines, and Fiori for Android builds up on Google's material design guidelines. We are just extending for the business usage. Looking at it more from a technology perspective, we are approaching the extensions of iOS and Android in 3 different categories. Some of the existing controls we just take out of the box and put our branding, more or less our theming on top of it. Then there's other elements, like for example, the object cell that you see here as an example. We do extensions, some additional capabilities that we know that are used in order to fulfill the needs of our enterprise users. Usually a bit more comprehensive information that can be rendered in an object cell, for example. And then there are scenarios that are more or less business environment specific. And sometimes it makes sense to build entirely new components, like, for example, timeline from scratch, because this is mirroring requirements that we see in multiple applications supporting business workflows. And all those 3 things are embodied in our quite comprehensive design system and those associated software development kits that come with it. Since we are working on this whole mobile native technology since 5 years already. By now, we have grown this to a very comprehensive set of components, patterns, and screen types. Above 100 topics are covered there. This is built out into 2 software development kits and 1 mobile development kit on top of that. Plus, we are supplying both to the inside and to the outside design guidelines, stencils kits, and also documentations for those software development kits. With that being said, I would love to give you some insights on what has recently been done in iOS, especially in the BTP release for the SDK version 6.1.2. That's just a subset, but I wanted to bring a few highlights here to your attention. One of those topics that we are very proud of is that we are introducing a ARKit for business. And the first features that we are delivering here is an annotation pattern that gives in the beginning some user guidance on what to expect from this kind of experience. And then we are introducing a few components that map digital information to those physical objects in a way that it's becoming very interactive and intuitive for the user to access information, as you see here in the example. One additional new feature of the latest iOS release is signature capture that allows us now to place the signature capture control into form cells, which means that the user can see the surrounding content while signing. This has been an addition that was asked from our stakeholders internally, so people have a more natural experience when signing off on a certain subject. Widgets, that's one of those very important aspects of bringing the business content on mobile even closer to the user, because we want to make sure that the user journey of a mobile user starts already in the environment of the operating system. And those widgets allow us to present rich content already on the home screen of the user and pick up the user for certain interesting situations in the business. If you want to find out more, and this, as I said, that's just a subset what we presented here for the latest release of Fiori for iOS, please take a look at the design guidelines. It's linked on the left side here, and also for the developers in the BTP SDK descriptions that you have also linked here on the right side. I would love to transition to Android because everything we are investing into iOS, we are also bringing into the Android world. So this is going to be also a subset of those enhancements that we have released with the version of 3.4. One of the major enhancements that we are bringing to the way that users can interact with large data sets on the mobile phone is the data table enhancement. Before we introduced this, we had to always drop content fields because we had to squeeze in data set content into object cells, and this meant basically dropping fields. We got the feedback that there needs to be a way for mobile users, especially in the enterprise scenario, to still navigate through also more complex multidimensional data sets. And that's where the data table enhancement becomes really handy now, because we introduced some interaction patterns here that allow users to navigate through this rich content, also on the mobile phone. There's another pick here from the recent release. That's our enhancements in the data visualizations. We are introducing Donut Chart as one additional data visualization component for Android. We have already quite a broad set, a capable set of data visualizations in place, but Donut Chart is just the last one that we are adding to that. I would also encourage you to take a look at the SAP Fiori for Android guidelines, the design guidelines, and same thing on the documentation for the SDK. So we have the links covered in the handout documents here. Please feel free to take a look, because that's where you can find the full details and on how to get started with implementing for Android. With that being said, in the beginning, I mentioned that we are using these artifacts inside, but we are also providing them to the outside. And we want to give you some examples on how SAP applications are building on top of those design system and SDK artifacts. And I would love to hand over to Christian to give you some detailed insights here.
Thank you, Emil. A couple of examples that we would like to share with you that were built on top of the SDK are the SAP Project Companion application, the SAP Maintenance Assistant, and the SAP Customer Guide. All of those applications are available in the App Store and are available to you and ready to use. And all of those applications are utilizing the benefits of the SAP mobile SDKs. And for us, from a development and a design point of view, we can leverage all of those components to build our UIs and to build up our applications in a consistent and a coherent way. And that doesn't only translate into a great user experience across different apps and across different devices, but we also benefit from updates to the SDK as they will be progressing in the future, and therefore automatically benefiting from all the enhancements that are coming down the line that Emil mentions. So although these applications might have the look and feel of the that you see right now, in the future, those will be updated and can be updated with adopting the new versions of the SDK and benefiting from all of those enhancements going forward. And talking about enhancements, today we would like to share with you one of the first applications that actually looks into the future and that actually is the first step into a renewal and a big enhancement to the SAP look and feel and way of working for native iOS and in the future Android. And that application is called SAP Mobile Start. This application is the central entry point for your mobile experience for SAP, for all of SAP users. And the main goal that we want to achieve here is to elevate all this data, all this information that you have to the forefront of your attention. That means we are bringing all of the notifications and all of the issues, all of the alerts right in front to your attention on your watch, on your lock screens. We are going to enable you to search through all of the application, no matter if it's a native or a web application. As long as you have access to it, you will find it right there in your device. Also, as Emil already pointed out, we are leveraging the widget technologies and to bring you rich business data and content that you can directly view on your device without even opening any apps. And this is all enabled by the technology right now from Apple's operating system, iOS, where we are leveraging technologies like Spotlight Search, the widgets, and native notifications. And in order to actually determine what this content is that you can see and search for, we are building this on the technology and the information that is available in the Launchpads. So here we are actually taking all of your user-specific content and rendering it and formatting it and bringing it to your fingertips in a native fashion, wrapped into the new look and feel of SAP Fiori. And you will also see that instead, on top of the web applications, we are also inserting the native applications, web links, and notifications at the forefront at the start of the application when you launch it. All of this content will be available on the phone and on the tablet, and as an extension also on the watch. And let me dive in a little bit more deeply into the start page. This is the first page. This is the launch page that you see when you open up SAP Start. And here we really want to embrace this idea that you might have only 20 or 30 seconds of time to check what's up with your data or with what's going on in your SAP world. So here on the top of the page, we'll always alert you about anything that is really critical to you and to your business. Going lower, we offer you a quick access to your most frequently used applications, but also point out anything, any applications or any data, any KPIs that have changed or that you need to pay attention to. And last but not least, also offering a section where you might find news and any frequent updates that will be part of the news tiles. But you also will have access to all of the applications that you are used to from your Launchpad. So on the second page in the applications area, here we have transformed all the access to the web applications in a native fashion. So all of the apps you know from your Launchpad are here, but in addition, we are also having the native applications that you have installed on your phone available for you in one single point to access and to launch. Also, the search that I mentioned before is also available inside of the application. It is lightning fast. You just start typing and you will see the search result coming in. And if you are interested in trying it out, it is available today. You can go to the App Store and download it, and we would love to hear from you and your thoughts on it. We are actively looking for input to improve the version, to improve the application going forward. Thank you so much, and now back to Emil.
Thank you, Christian. Very excited to see this come to life. And we have so much more that we are working on these days in order to bring this experience to all our other applications and make it accessible for everyone out there building applications with the SAP BTP SDKs. So I'm excited to share with you a little bit of an outlook on what the next releases in FureWhile will bring. And let me just walk through a few of the ideas behind it and the visuals. We are currently working on something that we interim call Fiori Next. The idea behind it is to create a more friendly and modern, more modular, and also more of a cross-platform experience that our users are encountering SAP software on a desktop device versus a tablet versus a mobile, that they feel more at home and everything feels more seamless and more integrated to the user. This is a little bit a shift away from us really completely focusing on the native experience of iOS and Android, but it brings this cross-device consistency to users that they keep asking us for. With this overall initiative, we are looking at an overhaul of all our components. You heard it in the beginning, it's quite comprehensive by now, Fiori for iOS and Fiori for Android. So we are looking at an overhaul of all those more than 100 components. And we will introduce the first aspects of this new design direction already with the next release of the SDKs on iOS and Android. One of those first enhancements that we are bringing is an updated color palette. Since we are doing it for mobile, we will not only do a light theme, we will also introduce a dark theme immediately. The idea behind it is to introduce more friendly, more saturated, more lively colors. And by doing that, we are also reassessing every color that we are mapping to the existing components in a way that our components are more accessible in terms of contrast ratio, for example. Accessibility is one of those key qualities that we want to improve with the introduction of Fiori Next in the mobile SDKs. The color set is only one of those aspects. I want to give you some visual previews here, what to expect from this first version. And please keep in mind, this is going to be a continuous effort. So over the phase of the next year, you will see us releasing more and more updates that are going into the direction of this new design that Fiori Next brings, also to the desktop, but in our area, certainly to the SDKs. So these are a few examples of how the iOS screens will look like. Everything is still work in progress, so it's a true lab preview that you're looking at here. So expect us still to apply improvements and change it as we go. Same thing for Android. We want to make sure to also interpret Fiori Next in a way that it blends into the native experience of Android as well. So we are taking the Android components and looking at those aspects and update them accordingly as well. Here are a few visuals for the next version, which will be version 4.0 on Android. Again, same thing, work in progress. It's really a lab preview. And after this first phase makes it into the SDKs, we want to make sure that component by component, we're applying more and more updates, improvements, and things like micro interactions as well to those components that we are overhauling. And just as another visual impression, this is where we are going. And I'm really excited for this to happen because I think it looks like a great consumer experience, like something that I as a user would really love to work with on a daily basis. And that's exactly our target. We want to create a delightful experience for our enterprise users with both the design system artifacts, with the components, but also with the applications where we just saw some some insights from Christian, especially on Mobile Start, which is designed around the user needs of an enterprise user that has access to multiple systems. And looking at these feature enhancements, looking at the capabilities of the apps, and then such a delightful experience, that's what our users are asking for, and that's what we are excited to work for. With that being said, I want to thank everyone for the session, but not for linking you to additional learnings, additional information that you can find around the topics that we've touched. There are additional sessions on the Mobile Start app, on Fiori Next, on Fiori in general, on Fiori for Web, where you will see many of those points that we mentioned, especially in the last part here on Fiori Next reassembled. S/4HANA Cloud is going to be one of those applications that will adopt the new Fiori Next design first. And I would encourage you to take a look into the other offerings. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for taking the time to look into the mobile experience for SAP. We've shown you some lab previews. We've shown you some work in progress. So that's why it's important for us to also get your reactions. Please feel free to reach out to me and to Christian to share your feedback, share your impressions, share your ideas, what we can improve to make it even more suitable for your scenarios. Thank you so much.